Greetings. You have your ticket? Oh, no problem. Just hit the subscription button below. Come on in. Hello, everyone. DFG here. Hey, guys. I wanted to just follow up on a conversation that we were having on yesterday. And every now and then, I know how you guys are about someone reading something to you, because I don't like it either. But every now and then, just to clarify and drive home a point, a little reading is necessary. So if you would just bear me, all right? Bear me, okay? I'm not even going to try to find the word. Oblige. That's what I wanted to say. Oblige you for a second here. And I'm going to tell you why I read this to you. Here it says, all of you must obey those who rule over you. There are no authorities except the ones God, using that word, has given. Those who now rule have been chosen by God. So whoever opposes the authorities opposes leaders whom God has appointed. Okay. Bullshit. Okay. Now, I don't know who wrote that in there. It's in the book of Romans. I think it's, let me see if I can find it. Chapter 13. I can assure you that was incorporated into that particular letter from Paul to Rome. Someone falsified that information. Trust me. Because why would the Most High, the Creator, appoint some of these? So if that's the case, let me have some fun. If that's the case, if that's true, then what about Adolf Hitler? What about Idi Amin? What about Mussolini? Come on, you guys can think of some of these other mass killers who were in power, who were in authority. What about the government of South Africa when they were pushing apartheid down our throats? Or down, the African throat. And we can go on and on and on and on of all these rulers. Bullshit. And if you happen to be a so-called Christian, respectfully, that's why I get myself in trouble. I know that. Everybody has a right to align themselves any way they want to align themselves. And I 100% respect that right, okay? So sometimes I'm not always as careful. And I admit it. So I'm going to apologize if I offended anybody by saying Christian, okay? I don't mean any more offense to you if I said Jewish or Muslim or Hinduism or Confucianism, Buddhism. I don't mean any more disrespect, okay? But in terms of who would have wrote that and asked us to align ourselves under that, could never have been sent by the Creator. Because that would imply that wickedness is okay. Mass atrocities, mass murder is okay. Hatred is okay. Racism is okay. Classism is okay. Greed is okay. And again, I can go on and on and on. I'll stop right there. I've already taken 3 minutes of your time. Let's get to the next step of what I want to talk about. Virginia. Remember what I told you the other day about politicians in terms of, their trustworthiness? Now here it is. You got Virginia, you got the governor, you got the lieutenant governor, and you got the attorney general. All three of them, major skeletons in the closet. Now, with those kind of skeletons in the closet, do you think that these guys will ever be independent? Do you think these guys would ever truly have your best interest in mind, my best interest in mind? When they know that stuff is there, you don't think for 1 second that the governor did not know that information in the yearbook still existed. You don't think for 1 second that the lieutenant governor, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, the copper color guy, him, that's what I'm talking about, with the whole, sexual assault situation, right? At the DNC convention, him, yes, him, I'm talking about him, and the attorney general, again, the blackface. And for you guys who say, well, what's wrong with blackface? Blackface was used to dehumanize people of color back in the, early 20th century. They would put on blackface and they put on these big old red lips and they would just make mockery or make blacks, so-called black people, look like buffoons. To get a good example, Spike Lee has a movie called Bamboozled. Bamboozled. Check it out when you get a chance. And the movie is around blackface and how they use blackface. And the movie shows a lot of, actual footage of how blackface was used to dehumanize people of color. So for all you people who say, what's the problem with it? I understand if you don't have the knowledge base to associate what that's all about. That's why, again, I'm helping you out. No, I'm not telling you to go do your own research, but I just gave you a clear window. Just go rent the movie. If you have Netflix or the little thing you put in the side, what do you call that, guy? The little tube thing that help you see movies. Bamboozle, okay? And you'll see. And here's another thing I'll say about all three of those guys and many, many other politicians. Again, if you're depending on politicians for truth, then that's like, I don't know, fishing in your toilet bowl, for, I don't know, dinner. All you're going to get is crap. And I almost said the S word. I just decided not to say it. Like fishing in your toilet bowl for dinner. If you're depending on politicians to tell you the truth. Okay? Now, that doesn't mean that politicians don't serve others' agenda. They do. The people who give them money. Big money. For them, yes, politicians will accommodate them. But most of these politicians, including the President of the United States and the former President of the United States, and all the other ones before them, they have so much dirt on these guys, they would never, ever, ever, stand up and stand independently and tell and speak the truth to you. They're going to tell you just what their handlers want them to say to you. And you say, well, Dale, why are you saying all this to me? I'm saying this to you that sooner or later, you're going to have to break free of their deception. Sooner or later, you're going to have to break free and not let anybody dictate to you, what is important to you and what your values have to be. If you're smart, your values will be universal values. Understanding that, we're all interconnected directly or indirectly. Everybody, honest with you, the social fabric of the universe is all interconnected. So whatever's good for me is good for the next guy and vice versa. But I digress. But you're going to have to start thinking independently and making your own decisions, not based off of, your racial politics, not based off of your economic politics, not based off of your, emotional politics. You're going to have to make your decision off your common sense politics if you want to be involved in. Me, myself, personally, I don't think any of them are trustworthy. And I know I'm going to piss some politicians off. And so what? I don't care. Get pissed off. I'm telling the truth. Most of them. Maybe at the local level. Maybe your councilwoman, your councilman, they may have a little integrity. I'm not, but time will tell, right? Even with them. Now, here's the final part of it. And again, just on the Virginia, I won't even speak those characters' names. I won't say either, all three of them. They ought to be nameless idiots. Bozos. Obviously, they have poor judgment. Poor judgment. But, again, three of them. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Curly, Larry, and Mo. Three stooges. All right? So, but that's what politicians look like, guys. They're puppets. And they have dirt on all of these guys. Any of those who have power to make a difference. Now, let me end this video. Just to tell you what politicians think about little people. Again, if you're up at the top of the food chain, yeah, you have influence. You funded their campaigns, and you're the reason where they are, and they're not going to forget that. But poor people, the little people, us, the masses, the laymen, as they call us, or if Hillary called us, the deplorables, right? Or what Romney called us, those who think someone owed them something. Us. Yeah, that group. Us. The local politicians in the city of New Orleans. The mayor. Give you an example. I sat on a conference call with the mayor of New Orleans, LaTanya Carell, I think it's her name. Cantel, I think it's LaTanya Cantel. Sat on a conference call with her. And I was expressing to the mayor that the conditions in the lower ninth ward in New Orleans were worse than third world, if there can be anything worse than third world conditions. Rats, weeds growing up all over the place, abandoned houses and lots, just so streets with giant potholes, streets with no lights. Yet, when you start looking at the murder rate in the ninth ward and lower ninth ward in New Orleans, it is probably the highest concentration of violent crimes in the city. And then there are little kids going back and forth in that area every day, from as young as 5 years old to obviously, 16, 17 years old if they're in high school. This mayor, show you how concerned she was. There's a billboard in her city, that says that 50% of the children in her city are dealing with serious depression. Serious depression. And when I brought that to her attention, I said, look, these children in that lower ninth ward area are living like third world America. You know what she told me? This is how much your politicians care about the little people, you and I. The people who don't finance their campaigns, who didn't put money in their pockets, who not doing backroom deals with them. You know what she said? Well, New Orleans has problem with domestic, violence, and everybody has PSTD, including me. Huh. I'm like, I wonder if she ran on the campaign. I wonder if she said that when she was running for mayor, that, oh, by the way, elect me, please, because I'm dealing with post-traumatic stress disorder. I wonder, I need to go back and just kind of look at her political platform and see if Miss Cantrell told us all that she's got some mental problems because she's depressed. Now, please let me run your city with my depressed ass. Just show you how disingenuous and how much they genuinely don't care. So when I start talking about politicians and that in the Constitution, as we know it is written, whether it's bullshit or not, it's still there. And there's still some fire we can make with it if we use it collectively as a group. Smaller tribes, bigger tribes, doesn't matter. Do not buy into these lies. Now you might say, what kind of government then? What are you saying? What can we do? Well, there's a lot we can do. But until we first break away from that system and tell them and call them out on what they're doing, refuse to go to the polls, refuse to submit to their laws, their unjust laws, they're going to continue to make mockery out of us, continue to rip us off, stealing our tax dollars, funding wars all over the world, and funding other countries' wars all over the world, like Saudi Arabia, at war with Yemen, when we are sending Saudi Arabia resources, weapons, etc., to destroy Yemen's children. Over 85,000 Yemen children have been killed. 85,000, guys, in the last decade or so. And you don't hear that on the news. And we're the number one funder of weapons to Saudi Arabia. And they went into Saudi Arabia just recently, Yemen, found all kind of American-made weaponry in Yemen. And by the way, guess where Yemen is? I know somebody says, where is Yemen? Africa. No wonder they're allowed to kill 85,000 children with no remorse and no accountability, winking, knowing all the time. Because you and I both know that 85,000 British children be hell to pay. Or French children be hell to pay. And rightly so, I might add, but it would be hell to pay. So politicians, guys, we're going to have to find another way to formulate a true, government. More to come on it. But I'm going to bring it out, I'm going to talk about it, and I'm going to warn you, don't trust them. Don't believe anything that they say. They are professional liars. And they lied to you and I. And if we didn't buy into their lies, they would be totally castrated and impotent. Thank you for listening. Bye now.